What up, y'all? This your man Canon. It's Unique Access, man. And the myth that I want to hit on is that hip hop is dead. So let's get it. So a lot of times people think hip hop is dead, primarily because of the sound of today's music, the kind of artist, the style that is brought up today. Hip hop has always been the byproduct of people's emotions and feelings, of how they feel towards society and their personal community. And when you have a dying community and a hurting society, it's gonna reflect itself in music. It always has. And I feel that a lot of times people look at today's hip hop and say, man, it's hurting or it's dead. But the reality is the community and the society is hurting and dying. And so my opinion is if you want to change music and where it is today, you have to change society. You have to change communities. Because again, music is just a byproduct of how people feel about their current situation and life. So really, hip hop isn't dead at all, in my opinion. I think hip hop is just kind of misguided in so many different ways. But I think also it's developed in different ways as well. So it's not dead if it's still developing. So in so many ways that I feel like that is thriving and developing is one, the sound, the mentality, the perspective. Now, just because it's developing doesn't necessarily mean it's developing in the right direction or in the direction that we all intended it for to go. But in so many ways, it's evolving into something that we all never really saw coming. You got people like Kanye who will take so many different sounds from different producers and artists and create one sound. You have people like Lil Yachty nowadays. You have people like 21 Savage nowadays. But then again, you also have people like Drake. You have people like Kevin Gates that makes music from not only a conscious standpoint, but at the same time, he's speaking directly to his hood. He hasn't forgotten who he is or what he's came from, but he also knows he too will be developing and changing and maturing in his perspective, just like so many different artists. Music itself doesn't just change in sound, but it also changes in perspective. Music changes in culture, because culture comes all in. It's like a melting pot. So as hip hop embraces different genres, different cultures, it too will have its own face, its own identity, and that's where you get so many different artists. So it's always developing because it's always embracing different cultures, different backgrounds, different artists, different sounds. I believe people think hip hop is dead because they see where it is now, but if we look at it all, hip hop has always been birthed out of so many different sounds, different cultures. I mean, anybody that's followed hip hop from back in the day, they know that it was coming in while disco was kind of dying. If you were to personify hip hop, you could personify hip hop as a child from so many different sounds. And with hip hop, you have an individual who has so many different personalities. You have the gangster mentality. You have the mentality of a pimp. You have the mentality of somebody who's political. You have the mentality of somebody who may love sex, drugs, and alcohol. You have the mentality of somebody who just loves to be creative. But you have so many different mentalities and personalities in this person of music, and it branches off in so many different ways. But the problem, I feel, has entered into hip hop is not just the way that it's developed, but I think more so its guidance. I think because there's a lack of intentionality in the perspectives and fighting for moral character. I feel like because there aren't not too many people that are fighting for certain foundational things. And so if you see a hurting hip hop, that just means we have a hurting society. We have a hurting community. Change society, change the community, you'll change hip hop. You change, you get better education, you get better fathers, then you'll get better leaders in hip hop. If you begin to have better leaders in the community and society, then you have better leaders and pioneers in hip hop. But nowadays we fail to have that a lot of times, and it reflects in our music. So whatever you want to see change in music, change it in society, change it in your community. And that starts with leaders, more better artists in hip hop.